Oh, okay. There it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Calibrate show. Much better. Today, oh my gosh. Welcome to the Calibrate show. My name is Hunter France. Today, I'm going to be talking about kind of what's going on in the world with this whole Israel thing, the protests happening in colleges around the world and other places like Europe and whatnot. Stick around after the bumper. And welcome back. Again, my name is Hunter France. If you liked that song, you can check out my brother and his band, The Sauce. That was their cover, Bad Moon Rising, by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Great song. Today, I guess I'll just get right to it, guys. I'm not doing a Bible study today. I will be wrapping my series up, the Olivet Discourse that we're doing. You can check the playlist out on the channel. I'm going to wrap that up here really soon. I'm sorry it's been a while. I've been going through some life changes, really, and I struggle with change because I have a hard time setting schedules. So I'm having to work my schedule making muscles, and they haven't been worked out in some time. So I'm sore. I'm mentally sore. But I'll word it this way. I have been paying attention, and I'm probably not alone. A lot of you who are coming here probably know what's going on in the world as well. There's that war in the Ukraine still going on, the war in Israel now with Hamas in Gaza, and knocking on the door of a war with Hezbollah and eventually Iran. I think everybody knows it's coming one day, right? But with all of this rising up, you're seeing this anti-Israel, you're seeing some pro-Palestinian, I guess there's a number of ways you can put it, protests going on in colleges. And I'm going to zero in on what's going on in the colleges for a quick moment. I mean, I don't really watch the news that closely, but I do have an idea of what's going on. I also know that in other places in the world, like here in America, it's a small sniff of what's going on, because in other places, like in Europe, I think there was an ambassador that actually I think he had to get taken by like security. I think it was a German ambassador, had to get removed by security because his life was under threat or something like that. There was a bishop, his name is Mars something. He was in Australia. He got stabbed multiple times while giving a sermon, lost his eye. You can find him on YouTube. He's doing better is what they've said. There was another pastor, I think somebody walked in and pointed a gun at him. So it's not just going on with the Jews. You're seeing this outcry. Well, I wouldn't say outcry. You're seeing this subplot of it starting to bleed over into Christianity. And I wanted to talk about this because in the Olivet Discourse series, we're studying about the signs of the end of the age and what the Bible says while staying away from conspiracies and things like that. And so I've always been hesitant to say this is that or these are those, this was written by so-and-so, because I believe, for one, I've made the case in one of the videos that there had to be a temple. And I still believe that today. And as well as the invasion of the Antichrist coming from the north. And he has this military rise similar to what it would be like Adolf Hitler. And he'll invade Israel from the north, think Turkey, Iraq, Syria regions of his arrival, if you will. So that hasn't happened yet. So again, I would say we're not really in the end times yet, but I'm bringing all of these other things up because I do believe it is a snapshot, a small preview of things to come. If you watched my video in Daniel 11, I think it was the rise of the Antichrist before the tribulation that I said this. I could be wrong because I've been to bed a few times since then. But at one point I talked about this storm, a hurricane, and that the eye of the hurricane would be on Israel. Of course, unlike an actual cyclone that you would see on the earth where the center is calm, the eye in this storm would actually be the strongest point. If you're from the Midwest in the United States, I grew up in Oklahoma, there's this belt of tornadoes. They call it Tornado Alley. And they have what's called a supercell. And at the epicenter of the storm is where it's the strongest. It brings down this wall cloud that starts to rotate, drops a funnel, and you get a twister. Twister. Oh, by the way, Thunder and 4. I believe the Thunder are winning it all. Thunder and 4. Anyway, but I would like to just put out there again what you're seeing worldwide. So this war in Israel, and now there's also war in, well, I shouldn't say now. There's also war in the Ukraine, and you got other places in the world that are starting to form alliances. We look like pre-World War scenarios that have always taken shape. But in that day, when the Antichrist does arrive, it will be like what you're seeing now. I think I forgot to wrap up the hurricane. Sorry, guys, I'm a little rambling right now. But the hurricane thing, I'll bring that back. Right now, you're seeing that there's war in Israel. There's these massive protests in Europe. There's protests all around the world, and they're also in America. But in America, they're on a slightly, not even slightly, they're on a smaller scale. And I believe I said in that video that at the edge of the hurricane, you can drop little tornadoes in pockets, like these little streaks of major damage. But outside of that, the edge of the hurricane is not terrible. As the closer you get to that eye, it gets worse and worse and worse. And you're seeing that now. And I believe what you're seeing on the world stage and on these college campuses is a glimpse, a trailer, a preview of what is to come. Just a foreshadow. That's really all. That's what we're seeing. And I do believe that. And so I submit these questions to you. You can put in the comment section what you think. But we need to ask ourselves in the days to come, when things do get worse, when things do get into those days, because I do believe it's in our future at some point. I'll bring that up here in a second. How are we going to respond as Christians? We need to understand, and I do believe this, we need to understand our relationship to Israel and the Abrahamic covenant, because it's not omitted. The new covenant is not, how do I say it? It's not, they say the old is passing away, the new has come, but it's actually confirming that Abrahamic covenant. Remember, God told Abraham, you're going to be a father of many nations, and the nations of the whole world will be blessed. You'll have descendants as numerous as the stars. That's for Israel and for us who are, as Paul would say, grafted into it. We're adopted. So we have a father by adoption, which is a spiritual way of saying, well, he's literally the one who created us. He is our father. But you talk about like heavenly legal stuff. I don't understand that all the way, so I won't get into it. But we do need to look at the scenario and ask, how do we respond as individuals, as children of God, and as a global body of Christ? I submit that to you. You can say it in the comment sections what you think and how we should go about it, or how you're going to go about it, because we also can't forget those in our lives that we love. Maybe there's family members that don't know Jesus, or they're not aware of what's coming. This is kind of like why we study, so we can not live in the future, because that's unhealthy, but that when these things do take place, we'll have the clear mind to know what we're seeing and what's coming next, and we can help people walk through it. The Daniel 11 masculine, those with understanding, helping people understand. And I honestly don't think you can do that without studying. The prophets of old, they were studying each other. It's like Daniel read Jeremiah. That's why he fasted, because he thought he was living in that end times prophecy that Jeremiah was talking about. He's like, oh, this is it. And then God shows up, or the angel of the Lord, I know it's Gabriel. He's like, hey, Daniel, not yet. That's way off into the future, but I'm going to let you see it. One last thing before I go. I want to touch on something I said earlier. We're not in the end times yet, but we could be really close. There's a lot of speculation. There's this Messiah 2030 video. There's others talking about 2031 and 2032. And they get this from the day that the year that Jesus died. 30 AD, which is debated. It's 30 or 33 or give or take. But they're going off that, and they're taking the Hosea prophecy, and they're talking about when God, through the prophet Hosea, says, that he'll scatter the sheep. On the second day, he'll bring them back, and on the third day, they'll live in his presence. And we're living really at the end of that second day. Peter talks about a day as 1,000 years to the Lord. 1,000 years is a day, and this whole 7,000-year plan of human redemption. The last of that, which would be the millennial reign, which we're getting ready to talk about in that Olivet Discourse portion. We'll talk about the judgment, the millennial reign, our new bodies, the resurrection. Probably wrap it up in 2 or 3 videos, but that's for later. I would like to submit Caution, because they're choosing the death and resurrection year of Jesus. Let's say we'll just use 30 AD. And I personally think it is. Just the 40-year gap between the destruction of Jerusalem. That number 40 years, I think that's important. And I think that makes the most sense, really. But we also have that date, 70 AD, when Jerusalem was destroyed and the Jews were scattered throughout the land, the diaspora and around the four corners of the world. And then, of course, 1948, towards the end of the second day. Day is 1,000 years. 1,000 years is a day. In 1948, coming back to the land, national ethnic Israel, but not spiritual Israel, because they do not yet follow the Messiah. Some do, okay? But not as a nation yet. And that's a whole debunking preterism video that I have, and many others have that. I won't get into that beyond that. But again, the caution part, I would submit the possibility that Jesus could return in 2070 AD and establish his throne, and that's the beginning of the millennial reign. Or, I would like to submit caution. Let's not put our mindset on it has to be this particular year. We still haven't seen the temple. There still haven't been sacrifices, the daily sacrifices, no abomination of desolation. Last thing I'll say, actually, is I will, and I'm going to put this out there in the end of my Olivet Discourse. I'll do the speculation stuff. We are seeing geopolitical alignments that are set in the context for the end times. The alignment between Turkey, Iraq, Syria, Iran, Sudan, and Libya. This is the Ezekiel 38 lands. And look, no doubt Russia, China, these other nations will likely be involved some form or fashion. It's not just going to be those, but I think they're going to be the ones that actually attack Israel. While I don't know what America's going to be doing during that time. We might be preoccupied with China and Russia. I don't know. My beard. It got caught in the mic. That is all I'm going to say. Stay tuned, because soon I'm going to release the next episode from the Olivet Discourse. We're going to talk about the resurrected bodies we're going to be getting. And we're going to go through Habakkuk 3. It's going to be a lot of fun. Love you guys. Maranatha. Stay tuned. Come on back. We're going to get through this. We are going to get through this. Endure, 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 endure.